Today I'm going to be taking a look at yet another show that I never gave a chance, Brickleberry. Brickleberry just kind of always seemed like a bootleg Family Guy, but instead of Family Guy, it's, oh man, let's take these kooky characters and let's just throw them into the woods and see what happens. So it never really interested me, and I never really heard anybody talking that good about it. There are a couple fans here and there, but the majority of the time, all my homies hate Brickleberry. But is that true? Is this show actually bad? Is it good? I'm gonna find this out by taking a look at some of the best, worst, and random episodes to see, was Brickleberry actually good? And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload almost every single day, and you do not want to miss it. And if you want a place where you can talk about your favorite shows, movies, games, all that good stuff, my Discord will be in the description. Now let's finally take a look at Brickleberry. Taking a look at one of the best episodes in the series with a 8.0 on IMDb, we have the episode Ride 'em Cowboy, and it does start off very Family Guy-esque, just that rapid-fire comedy, trying to do anything it possibly can to make you laugh. Just cutaway after cutaway after cutaway, but what I do appreciate is as the story goes on and gets more convoluted, they do start to focus on more of just a linear path instead of cutaways, which I did enjoy. I appreciated that a lot. But either way, we start off with this guy Woody and this little bear Malloy, and they have like a therapy-esque vibe to them, and Malloy's like, I want a motorcycle, I want it so bad, and so he gives him a little tricycle, like a little bike, and he's very upset about this. He's like, what the fuck? So that starts off his plot line of wanting to be grown and appreciated for his size and his stature, and then we have this guy Steve who shows up to work late, and everybody just assumed that he was dead because he has nothing better to do with his entire life, which was overall very sad sounding. I felt bad for this guy. I didn't feel very bad for him after, but either way. So we then cut back to Woody and the bear, and we immediately get some bear puns, and I was thinking that that was going to be the only showcase of his character, because he immediately starts hating on the Berenstein Bears for being Jews. And yes, it is the Berenstein Bears, not the Berenstein Bears. If you disagree with me, I'm gonna... Yeah, it's not Berenstein. That's stupid and brain dead, and I hate you. It's a Mandela effect. But either way, he makes fun of them for being Jews, I guess. The next thing I thought he was gonna say was, oh man, you know Yogi Bear? He's a pedophile. Oh, boo-boo. I didn't know she was 13, boo-boo. I just wanted a peanut butter and jelly, a picnic basket. I thought that was where it was gonna go. I thought they were gonna do more jokes like that, but they just did the one bear joke, which I'm grateful for. But they just go straight over to, manslaughter. Yeah. Because he's all like, what would I do for a Klondike bar? I'd murder my last babysitter. And then it cuts to him eating a Klondike bar, and his last babysitter is hung in the back.
That always works out well. That's what I'd do for a Klondike bar.
Yeah, that was pretty graphic, but it was kind of funny, I guess. I wouldn't do that for a Klondike bar. I don't know a lot of people that actually would. I feel like their entire motto is a little bit overhyped. I would probably, for a Klondike bar, I would, I don't know, maybe I'd pick up a snake, like a gardener snake, very safely, very normally. There isn't a lot I'd do for a Klondike bar, that's my message here. Either way, we then cut to Steve and his progression in the plotline, which I didn't enjoy initially because he tries to have sex with a horse.
That always works out well. That's what I'd do for a Klondike bar.
And if you know Mr. Hands, IRL by the way, don't Google it, he attempted to do the dirty, nasty, stinky with a horse. He's not around anymore. He's not around. He got used up, to say the least. So yeah, he decides to not do anything with the horse, and then he tries to stuff a bunch of money up his ass. That was also very odd, to say the least. And then he's sitting on a little step, and he's singing a song, and this other character named Denzel walks up to him, and he's all like, oh man, you're a beautiful singer. Oh man, you're beautiful. Oh, let's get you out here. Let's get you to sing in front of a crowd. I know you could do it. And so he goes to sing in front of women and children and some parents, and he just starts going, I love blowing dick, I love slurping cock. It's just like the gayest song ever. And it's like one of those things where he's not actually gay, he's not even remotely queer, he just sings in a very gay way. So nobody's fucking with it, nobody likes it, until they go to a gay bar, and he's just like, I'm riding that baloney pony, ooh, and everybody loves it. Yeah, that was a very interesting plotline, and initially got to me, just because he doesn't know that he's singing about hardcore gay sex. He's just completely oblivious to it. It'd be like if I was going like this. And that's how you change a tire, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's basically like that. But that was interesting. So we then have Malloy the bear. We cut back to his thing, and he finds this like Wishmaster thing, you know, where you put the coin in, and he wishes to be big, and he becomes big. He's huge, and he stops listening to Woody. He starts acting like an angsty teen and wants to go and see the world. He gets a motorcycle, and one joke I just have to highlight because it caught me so off guard was where he's driving the motorcycle in, and he has a white woman on the back of it, and Woody is all like, "When did you buy that thing?" referring to the motorcycle, and he's like, "Don't worry, she's tested." Talking about the girl. That was fucked, man.
Boy, what are you doing with that death machine?
Shut up, Woody. She's been tested.
That was wild. But either way, he starts to struggle in life because he needs money. And I actually didn't like that aspect of the plotline because the only reason that Malloy needs Woody is for money. Well, we watch Woody slowly descend into madness. I would have liked if Malloy more appreciated Woody for his fatherly insight instead of just his money, his pockets, like the dirty gold digger that he is. But, you know, it was still entertaining to watch him struggle in a lot of places. We cut back to Steve, and he just is singing for everybody, singing real good, and that is when the gay mafia shows up. Yeah, the gay mafia. And they want to sign him to a contract, and so he goes up in front of a big old crowd. He's about to sing a song about how his tire or his transmission went out, but he sings it like, "I blew a tranny last night, I blew a tranny last night." So everybody just fucks with it immensely, and I thought it was hilarious, but there's a certain point in the episode where you've heard so much gay song that it stops being funny, you know? Like, it just loses its charm a little bit, so I was kind of taken aback. But yeah, that's just a lot of what the episode is. It's a lot of him just appealing to the homosexual community, and it's funny for a while, and then I just stopped caring. I really did. You can only go so far with it. But either way, you then have Malloy trying to work a couple of jobs, and he works at this diner for a little bit, and he's the cook, and he gets fired, and while he's leaving, he's just like, "I jorked in all of your sandwiches, I blew a load, a stinky one!" And they all just keep eating it, so I don't know if that speaks volumes of the community, of what they're willing to eat, or it's talking about what is in your fast food. Either way, it was kind of funny. So they eventually have Steve go on Ellen's show. Yes, the demon of Hollywood, the decrepit, the aging, the skin falling off of her bones, Ellen DeGeneres. "Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I was being mean to people. I deserve to have my show back. Oh my god, everybody else is wrong. Let me make a comedy special about how I'm so fucking stupid." Yeah, that's Ellen for you. But either way, they go on that show, and it wasn't very funny. She just wants to dance to Steve's music, and then Steve, he starts, he realizes that his songs are gay because they go to the studio, and they make him go like this. "Yeah, shake that ketchup bottle, Steve! Shake it!"
Alone. Try to take it off with your butt. This is gonna be a cool video.
And so he watches it back, and he realizes that they're trying to make him seem gay, so he gets very angry, and he wants to stop. And then he sees a little boy in the crowd who is like, "You helped me open up, man. I appreciate you." And his name is Billy Black. So I don't know where this gets lost in translation, but he goes on stage, and he starts going, "I hate black people. I hate black people." Oh, man, that's gonna get clipped. That's bad.
I'm so sorry, Billy. Black people suck.
But either way, that's what he starts singing about, and then the entire stadium just goes into chaos, and that's pretty much the end of that story, and Malloy gets turned back into a little bear because he learns to appreciate Woody. But either way, very interesting things going on. I thought the main plot was good. The beginning of the episode was a little bit wonky, but I did enjoy watching Steve just learn sing all those gay songs, and then eventually that like entire sequence where he's being forced to do this and then shove it up his ass. That was pretty funny. I can't even lie. It was pretty comical. I enjoyed it. The bear plot line kind of lost me, after, I don't know, I didn't really find it that funny to begin with. I don't know, he's just doing a bunch of different situations like, oh god, I need an apartment, but I don't have money. Oh god, I'm not a good fry cook, I need more money. I don't know, there was some like jokes thrown in between those that sometimes got me to chuckle a little bit, but it just wasn't that grandiose. So if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid 7, 7 out of 10. I think that's pretty good for it. It's decent, it's entertaining, it's something that I could watch again and I wouldn't be upset about it, but I don't know, there's just a couple things lacking from the story that keep me fully interested the entire time. Taking a look at one of the worst episodes in the series with a 6.9 on IMDb, we have the episode Daddy Issues, and this show just gets more and more weird the more I have to watch it, because this episode opens up with them all being at a baseball game. That's thrilling, that's exciting, and then Ethel's getting cheated on, which that plotline was stupid and didn't mean anything to the episode, but it leads to Ethel having desires for a weird man later on, so I guess it's important. And also, the main highlight of this baseball game is that Woody placed a $2,000 bet that he had going with the little bear Malloy. So yeah, and they lose the game. And then they all have to take off their clothes, and we get like a 2-minute sequence where Denzel is staring, just oogling Steve's penis, and he's like, "Oh man, you got a ball vagina, where's your schlong?"
Damn, I see your balls, but where's... It looks like you have a vagina with balls.
And that goes on for a very long time where he's just staring at it, and I didn't find it funny. So yeah, that's the type of comedy we're getting in this episode. Wonderful. So then we cut to him saying that he doesn't know how to play baseball because his father never taught him, and we get to see how his father died. He got eaten by a crocodile, a tree crushed him, he went through a sawmill, he is fucking dead! He's so dead! Yep. Okay, and then just immediately after that, we have Malloy stealing Woody's kidney to try to get the money back.
Sniff this for me.
So he's now down an organ for the episode, and that's basically our B-plot, is him trying to get his organs back. So, yeah. And then we get to just another thrilling, wonderful joke all about animal abuse, where there is this animal who is sitting there, who is clearly mauled by some other animal, and Steve, he's trying to be like his father and be a good man, and he shoots it twice, and it doesn't die, so he just starts beating it on the ground and throws a grenade into its stomach.
Almost done. You'll be with Jesus soon.
It's just not my kind of comedy, I can't lie. I'm just not into watching this animal who has its guts spilled out just get beat to death. It was just not that funny for me, at least. I'm not even being a snowflake. It's just physical comedy that's all about shock humor, and there's no actual joke being poured into it, and it's not that funny. It's a little over the top humor, like him putting in the grenade in its stomach. Yeah, I can find the humor in that, like, oh my god, he's doing that. But again, it just feels kind of lazy, at least to me. That's how I view it. So he goes up to this mountain to look for the cougar that's apparently hunting down all these animals, and he finds a grotesque looking man covered in fur, and he's like, "Daddy, oh my god, oh wow, Father." So now he has this weird guy, and he just immediately starts humping his leg. "Yeah, Daddy, I'm so happy you're back. I love the way you just fap all over me. It's great, it's good news, it's thrilling, it's incredible." So he starts taking him out and trying to do a bunch of dad things with him, none of which is really working, to say the least. And then Ethel finds him and realizes that it's the perfect man for him, so they start getting freaky with each other, and Steve walks in and he's like, "Oh no, bro! My daddy's fucking a whore! No!" So he freaks out and runs away, and then they want to get married. I don't know, it's really all just, it's all wild, I guess. So they're at the wedding, and then Connie wants to kill the gross man who thinks that it's Steve's father because she wants to be with Ethel, and we get this fight between Steve and Connie because Steve thinks that Connie is going too far, and there's this scene where he throws a punch, misses, it goes in between Connie's legs, and Connie, with her vag, just goes like this.
Hey! Let me go!
Just grips his hand and throws him with it. What? No! You shouldn't be able to do that. Oh, God. No. It was just a bit disgusting, to say the least. So she ends up actually shooting the guy. They go to the hospital and they reveal that it wasn't his father this entire time. It was just a bear who didn't have all of his hair. He wasn't looking so fair, and now he has to go out to a mare. Yep, I'm a freestyling beast. Yeah, that means Ethel had sex with a bear, and we get by far one of the craziest abortion jokes I have ever seen in my entire life, because she says, oh man, well he definitely didn't get me pregnant, and then she goes outside and just jumps off a flight of stairs.
At least he didn't get me pregnant.
Oh man, that's still some shock humor, but that got me to laugh just because of how shocking it was. I feel like shock humor is just a 50-50 gamble on whether or not I'm just like, wow, that sucked and that was lazy because you don't want to tell an actual joke, you just want to do something purely shocking, or it's so unbelievably shocking that all I could do in response to that situation is laugh. That's basically what they were going for basically this entire episode. The only joke, like genuine joke that they were trying to tell here, which I guess it was still shock humor, is this one scene where Malloy is playing video games and he's roasting a kid and he's like, oh, your parents are gonna get divorced, or you're gonna have leukemia, and then we cut to the kid and his parents are all like, we're getting a divorce, you have leukemia, and his hair falls out. I don't know if that was shock humor or a genuine joke, but yeah, it's just whatever. This episode was very interesting, definitely not my favorite. I'm starting to see what the show truly is. It's just Family Guy in the woods, but not like seasons 1 through 8 of Family Guy, more like past season 10 Family Guy, where it's just rapid fire humor, and it's not very good. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it probably a 4 out of 10, I guess. I don't know, there were some things I liked in it, like the entire Oregon plot line. There was some stuff I enjoyed there, but the majority of it was just nonsensical, and I wasn't a big fan. Taking a look at another one of the best episodes in the series, we have Little Boy Malloy with a 7.9 on IMDb, and this one is genuinely just all rapid-fire nonsense jokes, and they're all so weird. It feels like it wants to stick to one plot, but then it's like, oh, we have this other thing, oh, we have this other thing, oh man, I just don't know what to do! Because this episode starts off with Steve meeting a girl that looks exactly like him, and they're like, oh man, you need to come by my school and give a little performance. Oh, you need to, because for some reason they fall in love because they look exactly like each other. If I met a person who looked like me in public who was a woman who wanted to woo me, I would probably just get away, demon! Because I would not be attracted to myself in that way. You know, in elementary school, I did walk into the bathroom one time, and I saw this boy, and he was just smooching himself in the mirror, like making out with himself in the mirror. This was like 2nd grade. I will never understand the unholy desire to have sex with yourself, but for people who do, good for you. Either way, Steve really wants this in the episode. He wants it so bad, so he's worried about having to go to the school, and he wants to make sure he doesn't get that wrong. You would think that would be the main focus of the episode since they started it off with that, but it's really not. We then cut to Ethel and Connie having a conversation about her dating life because she keeps meeting people who are like, I want your yummy, yummy skin. Oh, I want your skin. So she's struggling with dating, and Connie wants to be with her, but Connie's a lesbian, and Ethel is clearly not a lesbian. So there's a struggle there. There's a discontent. Oh no. So she goes on a date with this guy, and the main highlight for this date, the main joke they decided to lead off on, the big climax of it all, and that's a pun you'll understand in just a minute. She touches him, and then he just goes, oh, this is exactly what I needed tonight because I'm busting.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, he just comes at the slightest touch of a woman, and that's the entire joke. That's what that entire sequence of the episode was building up to, and it's just not that funny. It was okay, but guess how many more times they do it? Not twice, but 3 times in the episode. They love to just cling on to this shit-ass joke, and they do that multiple times throughout this episode, just clinging on to the same joke repeatedly, and I don't know how to feel about it. We then cut to Steve, who's having a weird dream where he imagines doing the dirty, nasty, stinky with the woman version of himself, and when he opens up her legs, it's just Steve. It's his face.
You waiting for, Power Ranger? Go ahead, Steve. Stick it in me.
What kind of weird-ass dream are you having, man? That's so odd. Why would you want your face to be where it is? And he got excited about that. It was like, oh my god, where I am supposed to stick my golden pulsating rod. There was my face. What could be better? It's just such a weird outlook. I don't know how to feel about it. It's so odd. So then we have Ethel, whose family is rich and famous, is coming into town, so she needs to find a man super fast. So we get this scene where she tries to kidnap a child by putting, like, one of those things they put on dogs' necks. Yeah, that was very odd. My god. So that doesn't work, so then she grabs Malloy the bear and shaves him violently and makes him look like a little child, and Connie pretends to be a man by putting a beard on, pretending to be her husband, so it looks like she has a big, old, nasty, stinky family. Very good. I kind of liked initially where she's trying to get Malloy to give into this, and she's just repeatedly sticking him with tranq darts, and he's like, I can hear my blood.
Boy, playful 1 minute, a perfectly well-behaved child the next.
I can hear my blood.
I thought that was kind of funny, but everything else just gets weird from there because they take Malloy to school. He goes to school, and he immediately starts getting ragged on by this dude, and then he's like, I'm gonna take your friends. I'm gonna take your bitch. I'm gonna kill you. And yeah, he sticks to his word there because he starts taking his friends. We eventually cut to class where Steve finally gets to do his big old presentation in front of the whole class. And before it, Denzel, he gets a bunch of women to shake their asses all over the children, which I found to be disturbing.
Ass and titties! Ass and titties! Ass and titties!
I could definitely see some people finding it funny, but it was just not for me. So then Steve starts giving his presentation and he gets roasted, so he pisses himself and leaves. Yeah, so that entire plot line is almost over. We don't get another cut to him and female Steve before the ending of the episode. We'll get there later. But yeah. So we then cut to Connie and Ethel having dinner with Ethel's sister and husband, and things get weird there where Connie is all like, I never want this night to end, and then it cuts to a kidnapped child who's getting drowned to death. Yeah, because Connie apparently kidnapped that child so that they would have to continue with this whole charade. It's very odd, it's very convoluted, you're probably having trouble following me, but it's all very weird. And they do that joke again, you watch the kid who's gonna drown, and later in the episode, we have to watch the same thing happen. It's just so odd. But that night ends with Connie pulling out a lightsaber, and she presses the button and it's just a fist going like this. It's a fist saber. So Ethel is put off by this because, again, she's not a lesbian, so they ask for a divorce and that entire thing falls apart. So, yeah. But then we get to the play, which Malloy is in. He's in a play, and he manages to steal the kid who was ragging on him's girl, and then he just starts brutally murdering the kid. And then the entire stage falls, and we see Steve having the dirty nasty with the woman version of himself, and that's pretty much the end of the episode. Yeah, a lot of things going on there. You were probably thinking, oh my god, this guy is describing so much different shit. And yeah, that's where my problem stems with this episode. It doesn't feel like they were confident in the story that they wanted to tell initially, so they just like, oh man, let's come up with another gag. Okay, let's have Ethel and Connie maybe want to do the freaky. Let's have Ethel meet a guy who every single time she touches him, he goes, Like, I didn't talk about it because it wasn't very funny, but the dude returns like so many different, like he calls her and he's like, hey, I could bend you over, and then he busts again, and then later on, they're at dinner with Ethel's sister and husband, and he walks up and he's like, Ethel, you're married, and then he does it again. It's just not that funny. It really isn't. And then they do the drowning joke twice. They make women just, you know, twerk all over children. They do really weird stuff with Steve and the woman that he likes, just imagining the vagina was his face. It's just so many weird things, man. And I didn't even mention everything. Did you know Connie, the lesbian who's really into Ethel, her entire boobage falls out. It all just explodes out. But I didn't mention it because there was so much other stuff to talk about. I don't like comedy where you're not confident in the plot that you're talking about, and you just need to keep on throwing out gags just to try to get somebody to laugh. I'm just not personally a big fan of it. So if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give this episode a solid 4 out of 10. I think some of the jokes did land, but the majority of the time it was just physical comedy just for the sake of shock humor. That's what it was. Just pretty much the entire time, and the majority of the time it just didn't land for me. It just felt off, it felt undesirable, and that's why it's a 4 out of 10. The next episode I'm going to be taking a look at is Steve's Bald with a 6.9 on IMDb, and wow, if you are a bald person, if you're bald, if you got that good old-fashioned chrome dome, you're about to be in for a rough time, because this episode spares no expense making fun of anybody who is bald. This episode starts off just pretty naturally, like Steve's toupee just blows in the wind, blows off, and then we cut to them inside, and they just start eviscerating him, like, oh my god, he just rips off his toupee, throws it away. He just starts getting beat by everybody. Everybody just starts treating him like shit.
Ow! Ow! Kids, please, allow me. Ow! Ow!
Wow. So, yeah, they don't like bald people, to say the least. They really, really, really don't like bald people. And then we have our B-plot, which is where I think the episode just goes so far downhill, because it's just more shock humor, but I don't give a shit about the shock humor. It's my least favorite. It feels like somebody's weird psychotic fetish to draw all this shit, and I just don't like it. You have the character Ethel, and she doesn't want to kill a spider, so she takes it outside, and she's like, oh, I'm such a good person, oh my god, oh, I want her to fly, and then she steps on a kitten's skull, and I have to look at the kitten's popped out eyeball.
What was that?
You just crushed a kitten's head.
Oh no.
Why? Why? It's not entertaining for me to watch these animals suffer in such awful ways. I'm just not a fan of it. I don't know, maybe it was like no, I can't think of any animal I would want it to be besides maybe a fucking wasp to suffer in such a way, but yeah. So this kid has its eye popped out, and then she hits a deer, and then she's like, oh my god, I gotta finish it off, I gotta finish it off. So she shoots it in the head, and she just goes, oh my god, that's exactly what I needed. Yeah, she busts, so she now has an insane desire for murdering animals. It just feels like a psychotic fetish of killing them, and I don't like to watch it come upon screen. Like, I feel like, you know, the show feels a lot like Mr. Pickles in a sense. It's definitely way more tame and toned down, but I feel like Mr. Pickles, it was at least conveying some of these things in such a heinous and shocking way that it didn't glorify it at all. Here, yes, she's presented as psychotic, but Ethel just enjoys it too much and makes it seem so great that it just disturbs me in odd ways. Both shows are very disturbing, but here, it's just shock value for the sake of shock value, and it doesn't push me to the edge where I want to laugh because it's so unbelievably disturbing, if that makes sense. I don't know. But either way, Steve pours a bunch of stuff all over his body, and he drives his car into a ditch, and he turns into Bigfoot, and he's now very happy to be Bigfoot because he's not bald. So we get a lot of Bigfoot stuff where the little bear Malloy becomes his manager, and initially they're just doing things like, oh, you have some Bigfoot hair, make some money, but then we get this scene where it's just a sign that says chocolate covered Bigfoot, and it's just Bigfoot lying in bed surrounded by 6 black naked men. What? No, don't use Bigfoot like that. Don't do it to him. But either way, yeah, that's the type of Bigfoot shenanigans we have. And, Ethel is still murdering animals. She just snaps a baby fox's neck. If that entertains you, then you're not my kind of person. I don't know, I didn't like it. And obviously it's portrayed as she is psychotic, but I don't like it either way. I don't like watching these poor little animals just, you know, and then she steps on a turtle. Yeah, so that was odd. Not personally my cup of tea. So eventually they're holding a big funeral for Steve because nobody knows that he's Bigfoot, and so Steve's trying to get everybody to, you know, dance and have fun with Bigfoot and not care about Steve, and they eventually figured out that it must have been Bigfoot who murdered Steve. Oh dear, oh lord, we gotta try and kill that guy. So they chase him, and it eventually ends with the actual Bigfoot saving Steve, and then Steve is all like, kill this guy instead, kill him, get rid of him. And so they shoot him, and then Ethel has her biggest orgasm ever. and then she's back to caring about animals, and that's the end of the episode. And yeah, I don't think I like this show. I really don't. Just 90% of it is all shock humor, and it's just not that entertaining to me. I really don't like it. I don't like watching a character step on a kitten's head. I don't like watching a character snap a baby fox's neck. I don't really care for, actually the beginning of the episode where they were beating up a bald man just for the sake of being bald, that was actually really funny. I can't deny that. That was hilarious. But everything else was just, I don't care. Like, it doesn't push it, like, far enough to where it's actually funny, because at least Mr. Pickles, like, I found that show extremely disturbing, but they push it so unbelievably far that the only thing that you could do is laugh, because you're just like, what the fuck? Here, it's just kind of disgusting, and it's not, like, pushed far enough to make me laugh. Like, there's a certain threshold you have to cross with shock humor, I feel like, for it to actually be funny and dark humor, and here it just doesn't get there. So yeah, I didn't really like this episode very much. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 3 out of 10. I don't like this show for two main reasons. One reason is the characters. I don't really find any of the characters to be very charming or very entertaining. All of them are very wacky and very weird, but nothing about them stands out as something to remember. Like, this show feels a lot like late season Family Guy, but what Family Guy always has is a Peter Griffin or a Stewie. Those characters are iconic, they're memorable, and they can usually always do something that is so funny. Peter's voice just is inherently so unbelievably funny that the things that he does, even if it's kind of lame, you could still hopefully find some enjoyment in it. Here, all the characters are just dull, but wacky at the same time, to where I don't really remember any of the things that they do, unless it goes to my second problem with the show: it's very shocking. They rely so much on shock humor, just the idea of controversy, that it makes some of the episodes just suck, where it's just random cutaway gags. It's just randomly taking away from the linear plot you're trying to tell. It just screams, I don't have confidence in telling a full 22-minute story that I need to just fill it with random bullshit. Like, a character meeting his doppelganger and wanting to have sex with them, so a bunch of women start twerking on children. Yeah, none of that is coherent. Or a girl steps on a kitten's head and then all of a sudden shoots a deer in the head and then has a weird fetish for killing animals. It's just pure shocking controversy. It doesn't actually feel like you want to tell a good episode. The only episode I actually liked was more linear, where Steve is telling all of those gay songs and he goes to the studio and it's like, yeah, shake out that ketchup on your face, shake it out on your face. That's just a good joke. It doesn't have to rely on the shock value to actually be funny. I actually enjoyed Mr. Pickles a lot more than the show, because the shock humor was, you know, very shocking, but it felt like it had a purpose in the episode. Here, it just feels like they have no confidence in the story they're trying to tell, so they just want to go from joke to joke to joke without actually conveying anything meaningful. And I'm not saying the show has to be meaningful in any way, because it's clearly not, especially with the stories that they tell, but it doesn't feel like there's any confidence in the episode or the format, so they just dive into random nonsense humor, and I'm just not about it. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy watching this show. I was gonna do 2 more episodes, but I kinda got my fill with what this show is supposed to be about, so here we are. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload almost every single day, and you don't want to miss it. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.